John slouched in his worn armchair, mindlessly flipping through channels on his hollow screen. The same old Earth news, the same old Earth problems. He sighed, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Just another mundane Tuesday. Suddenly, the screen flickered and an urgent news bulletin appeared. A stern-faced anchor with unnaturally perfect hair stared out at the viewers. Breaking news. The Galactic Council has just passed a new interstellar law affecting all Earth citizens. Every human male is now required to marry 2 alien wives. This mandate goes into effect immediately. John blinked, certain he had misheard. He leaned forward, turning up the volume. Distribution centers are being set up across the globe. All eligible bachelors are urged to report to their nearest center as soon as possible to be matched with their new alien brides. Failure to comply will result in... The anchor's voice faded as John's mind raced. 2 alien wives? It sounded too good to be true. Images of exotic, beautiful extraterrestrial women danced through his imagination. He leapt to his feet, nearly knocking over his coffee table in his haste. "This is it," he exclaimed to his empty apartment. "My chance for adventure, romance, and, well, more romance." John barely paused to grab his jacket before dashing out the door. He sprinted down the street, dodging bewildered pedestrians. The nearest distribution center was only a few blocks away, but he couldn't risk missing out on the best alien babes. As he ran, John's mind swirled with possibilities. Would his wives be green-skinned beauties from Mars? Or perhaps ethereal, glowing creatures from a distant galaxy? He grinned, picturing himself with a gorgeous alien on each arm. Rounding the final corner, John skidded to a halt. His jaw dropped. A line of men stretched for blocks, all queued up outside a hastily erected prefab building with Alien Bride Distribution Center emblazoned across the front. "No, no, no," John muttered, joining the back of the line. He bounced on his heels, craning his neck to see how quickly things were moving. Come on, come on. Hours crawled by. The sun climbed high in the sky, then began to set. John's enthusiasm waned, replaced by growing impatience and discomfort. His stomach growled, his feet ached, but still, he waited. Finally, as twilight settled over the city, John reached the front of the line. A bored-looking official waved him forward. "Name?" the man droned, not looking up from his tablet. "John Carter," he replied eagerly. "I'm here for my alien wives." The official tapped at his screen, then frowned. "I'm afraid all of our more conventionally attractive candidates have already been claimed." John's heart sank. "What? But I've been waiting all day." "Yes, well, you should have gotten here sooner," the man gestured toward a door. "You can choose from our remaining candidates through there." Deflated, but still hopeful, John entered the indicated room. His eyes widened in horror. The candidates were unlike anything he had imagined. In one corner, a mass of writhing tentacles oozed across the floor. Nearby, what appeared to be a sentient boulder with glowing cracks for eyes rumbled ominously. A gelatinous cube quivered in greeting. "There must be some mistake," John stammered, backing toward the door. "I was expecting, sexy alien babes." A nearby blob gurgled in what might have been offense. "I'm sorry, sir," the official called from outside, "but the law clearly states you must choose 2 wives. If you refuse, you'll face steep penalties." John's mind raced, searching for a way out of this nightmare. "I need some time to think," he blurted, darting out of the room. He leaned against the wall, catching his breath. This was not how he had imagined his grand space romance playing out. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the entrance. A group of exotic-looking alien females had burst into the distribution center, causing a stir among the waiting humans. "There he is," one of them cried, pointing a tentacle in John's direction. "It's the famous John Carter." John blinked in confusion. "Famous? Me?" The aliens surged toward him, a kaleidoscope of colorful appendages and shimmering skin. They crowded around, chattering excitedly in a variety of languages. A statuesque, blue-skinned beauty with iridescent scales pushed to the front. "Oh, John, we've traveled across the galaxy to meet you. Your reputation as Earth's most eligible bachelor is known throughout the cosmos." "It is?" John stammered, both bewildered and intrigued. A smaller, imp-like creature with glowing antennae piped up. "Oh yes, your achievements are legendary. They say you once arm-wrestled a Croatian battle beast and won." John opened his mouth to protest, but another alien chimed in before he could speak. "And is it true that you single-handedly saved an entire planet from a supernova using only a paperclip and a ball of string?" This came from a willowy being composed entirely of swirling mist. "Well, John began, but was cut off once again. "Enough talk," declared a robust, four-armed female with skin like polished bronze. "I claim this human as my mate." "No, he's mine," shrieked the blue-scaled beauty, shoving her rival. In moments, the aliens were embroiled in a full-scale brawl, each trying to stake their claim on the bewildered John. Tentacles flailed, antennae sparked, and the air filled with alien curses. John backed away slowly, his head spinning. This was not at all what he had expected when he'd rushed out of his apartment that morning. As the melee intensified, a slimy, three-headed creature that looked like a cross between an amoeba and a jellyfish oozed toward John. All three heads smiled coyly. "Hello, handsome," it gurgled in triplicate. "How about a kiss?" John yelped, dodging the creature's attempt to engulf him in a gelatinous embrace. He stumbled backward, crashing into something solid. Turning, he found himself face to face, or rather face to knee, with an enormous centipede-like alien. "Greetings, potential mate," the creature chittered, its countless legs undulating in what John belatedly realized was some sort of courtship dance. "Shall we engage in the ritual of 1,000 steps?" "I left my dancing shoes at home," John stammered, inching away. He scanned the room desperately for an escape route. The brawl had only intensified, with more aliens joining the fray. The distribution center staff seemed to have given up on maintaining order and were cowering behind their desks. Just when John thought things couldn't get any crazier, a booming voice cut through the chaos. "Enough!" The fighting stopped abruptly. All eyes and various sensory organs turned toward the source of the command. Floating serenely above the crowd was a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and sparkling. When it spoke again, its voice reverberated with power. "John Carter of Earth," it intoned, "your reputation has reached even the highest echelons of galactic society. I am Zanara, Empress of the Cosmic Confluence, and I have chosen you as my consort." John gaped at the radiant being. "I'm flattered," he managed to squeak out. Zanara's luminous form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "You need not decide immediately, my dear. I understand this must all be quite overwhelming for your primitive human mind." "Hey," John protested, momentarily forgetting his awe. The Empress continued, unperturbed. "I shall give you 1 Earth week to prepare yourself. Then you shall accompany me to my palace among the stars, where you will rule by my side for all eternity." With that pronouncement, Zanara vanished in a flash of dazzling light, leaving behind a stunned silence. John stood frozen, his mind reeling. This morning, he had been a nobody. Now he was apparently the most sought-after bachelor in the galaxy, with an empress vying for his hand in marriage. The spell of silence broke as the other aliens resumed their squabbling, each insisting that they were a better match for John than some stuffy empress. Taking advantage of the renewed chaos, John edged toward the exit. He needed time to think, to process everything that had happened, and maybe to Google how to politely turn down an all-powerful cosmic empress. As he slipped out the door and into the cool night air, John couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. "Be careful what you wish for," he muttered to himself, shaking his head. With a mix of trepidation and excitement, he started the walk home. One thing was certain: his life would never be the same again. The stars above seemed to twinkle with new possibility, and for a moment, John allowed himself to imagine the adventures that might lie ahead. Then he remembered the three-headed amoeba's attempt at a kiss and quickened his pace. He had a feeling he was going to need a good night's sleep to face whatever tomorrow might bring. As the first rays of sunlight crept through John's bedroom window, he groaned and pulled the covers over his head. The events of the previous day felt like a bizarre dream, but the ache in his feet from hours of standing in line served as a stark reminder of reality. Computer, he mumbled. What's the latest news on the alien marriage law? His AI assistant chirped to life. Good morning, John. The galactic marriage mandate remains in effect. However, there have been some updates. Due to the chaos at distribution centers, Earth authorities are now allowing humans to seek their own alien partners. Intergalactic travel agencies report a surge in bookings. John sat up, suddenly wide awake. That's it, he exclaimed. I'll find my own wives. How hard can it be? 3 hours later, John stood in the spaceport, clutching a hastily packed bag and a guidebook titled Galactic Hitchhiker's Guide to Interspecies Romance. His enthusiasm had dimmed somewhat after discovering the exorbitant cost of faster-than-light travel. Last call for the budget shuttle to Zoran's cosmic cantina, a bored voice announced over the PA system. Please note, life support systems are optional and not guaranteed for the entire journey. John hesitated, then shrugged. Well, you only live once, he muttered, hurrying toward the boarding gate. The journey was memorable. John emerged from the cramped shuttle 12 hours later, disheveled and slightly oxygen-deprived but alive. He stumbled into Zoran's cosmic cantina, a dingy establishment that seemed to exist in a perpetual haze of alien tobacco smoke and questionable substances. Settling onto a bar stool that pulsated uncomfortably beneath him, John cleared his throat to catch the bartender's attention. The creature turned, revealing itself to be a shimmering jellyfish-like being with multiple tentacles, working various drinks simultaneously. What'll it be, Earthling? The bartender burbled. John consulted his guidebook surreptitiously. I'll have a supernova slammer. The bartender's gelatinous form rippled in what might have been amusement. Brave choice. You sure you can handle it? Of course, John said with false bravado. I drink these all the time back on Earth. A glass materialized before him, filled with a swirling, glowing liquid that seemed to be trying to escape. John took a deep breath and lifted the glass. Wait, the bartender cried, but it was too late. John took a large gulp and immediately felt as if his insides had been hit by an actual supernova. He gasped, his eyes watering, and promptly fell off his stool. As he lay on the sticky floor wheezing, he became aware of a melodious voice above him. Oh my, are you all right? John looked up to see a vision of alien loveliness. The female creature had iridescent skin that shimmered with every movement and large, almond-shaped eyes that seemed to contain entire galaxies. I'm John, he croaked, attempting to stand and failing spectacularly. And you are? I'm Zyla, she replied, helping him up with surprising strength. You know, where I come from, collapsing at a female's feet is considered a marriage proposal. John's eyes widened in panic. Oh no, I didn't mean. Zyla laughed, a sound like tinkling crystals. I'm joking. You Earthlings are so easy to tease. As John dusted himself off, trying to salvage some dignity, he realized this might be his chance. So, Zyla, he said, attempting a suave lean against the bar and nearly toppling again. What's a nice alien like you doing in a place like this? Before Zyla could respond, a booming voice interrupted. She's waiting for her date, meatbag. John turned to find himself face to chest with a hulking, four-armed creature whose skin appeared to be made of living stone. The alien cracked its knuckles menacingly. All 12 of them. Right, John squeaked. I'll just be going then. Lovely to meet you, Zyla. Enjoy your date with, the Rock here. He backed away hastily, colliding with a group of smaller aliens who squeaked in indignation. So sorry, he muttered, making his way to the exit. Once outside, John consulted his guidebook again. Okay, cosmic bars are out. What's next? Intergalactic blind dates. That sounds safe and not at all potentially disastrous. A short hover cab ride later, John found himself at the Galactic Matchmaking Emporium. A cheerful receptionist with 3 eyes and blue fur greeted him. Welcome. Here for our blind date service? She chirped. John nodded, filling out a form that asked questions like preferred number of appendages in a partner and are you allergic to psychic emissions? Soon, he was ushered into a small, dimly lit room. Your date will arrive shortly, the receptionist said with a wink of her middle eye. John sat nervously, straightening his jacket. The door opened, and a swirling mass of pink gas floated in. "Hello," a voice echoed in his mind. "I'm Nebula. You must be John." Yes," John replied, unsure whether to speak aloud or think his response. "Nice to meet you." "Oh, how delightful," Nebula exclaimed. "I've always wanted to merge consciousnesses with an Earthling. Shall we begin the bonding process?" Before John could respond, he felt a strange tugging sensation in his mind. The room began to spin, and he had the disconcerting feeling of being pulled out of his own body. "Wait," he yelped. "I'm not ready for consciousness merging on the first date." With a supreme effort of will, John managed to break free of Nebula's psychic pull. He staggered out of the room, gasping. "Date concluded already?" the receptionist asked brightly. "You could say that," John panted. "I think I'll try something a little less invasive." Dejected but not defeated, John decided to try his luck with intergalactic dating apps. He found a quiet corner in a nearby space mall and pulled out his smartphone. "Let's see," he muttered, scrolling through the options. "Galactic love, star-crossed, ET phone home. Ah, here we go. Xenomatch, where species is just a number." John downloaded the app and began setting up his profile. He struggled with questions like, "What's your stance on photosynthesis in a partner?" and "Rate your tolerance for sulfuric acid-based life forms." Finally, his profile was complete. John took a deep breath and hit "Find matches." His phone began to vibrate violently, smoke poured from the speakers, and the screen flickered with alien symbols. "Oh no," John groaned, realizing too late that his Earth technology wasn't compatible with the advanced alien network. With a final mournful beep, his phone sent out a massive data burst before dying completely. John stared at the lifeless device, a sense of dread creeping over him. Suddenly, the ground began to shake. Alarms blared throughout the space mall. A voice boomed over the PA system. "Alert! Incoming teleportation signatures detected. Massive influx of lovelorn aliens expected. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." John watched in horror as portals began opening all around him. Aliens of every conceivable shape and size poured through, all clutching what looked like intergalactic versions of smartphones. They were all shouting variations of "John, my love. I got your message." "Message?" John squeaked, backing away from the advancing horde of amorous extraterrestrials. "What message?" A nearby info kiosk helpfully displayed a translation. "Due to a technological incompatibility, your Earth device sent your profile to every single user on Xenomatch simultaneously across the entire galaxy." John's jaw dropped. "You've got to be kidding me." A tentacled beauty slithered towards him, batting her eye stalks seductively. "Oh, John, your profile was so intriguing, especially the part about being open to partners with unlimited appendages." "I didn't write that," John protested, dodging her reaching tentacles. A floating brain in a jar hovered nearby. "I found your desire for intellectual stimulation most appealing," it intoned. "Shall we engage in a multi-dimensional chess match to determine our compatibility?" John backed away, finding himself surrounded on all sides by eager alien suitors. "Look, there's been a huge mistake." As the alien horde closed in, John realized he was in way over his head. The pursuit of love had turned into a cosmic nightmare, and he wasn't sure how to escape this interstellar dating debacle. John's heart pounded as he surveyed the approaching crowd of alien admirers. He needed to think quickly if he had any hope of escaping their amorous advances. A sudden idea struck him. He would use their romantic zeal against them. "Hey, everyone!" John shouted, raising his hands. The aliens paused, their varied forms and features converging on him with anticipation. "I'm flattered by all your attention, but I want our first meeting to be special. Why don't we all head to the Cosmic Garden Plaza? It's a much nicer place for getting to know each other." The crowd buzzed with approval, and John seized the moment, darting toward an emergency exit as the aliens surged toward the plaza. He burst through the door and into a maintenance corridor, his mind racing. He had to find a way off the station before the mob realized he wasn't coming back. Navigating the labyrinthine back passages, John finally emerged in a quieter part of the space mall. He took a moment to catch his breath and spotted a directory terminal. Skimming the map, he found his destination, the shuttle bay. If he could hitch a ride on the next transport off this station, he might just escape this intergalactic debacle. As he made his way to the shuttle bay, John's mind churned. He'd learned a valuable lesson. Jumping headfirst into the unknown without thinking through the consequences could lead to disaster. But as daunting as his situation was, it also sparked something inside him, a desire for real adventure and genuine connection. The shuttle bay was bustling with activity. John scanned the departure board and spotted a cargo freighter bound for a distant space colony. Perfect. He approached the freighter's crew, a ragtag mix of humans and aliens. "Excuse me," John said, trying to sound casual. "I need to get off this station. Is there any chance I could hitch a ride with you?" The captain, a grizzled human with cybernetic implants, eyed John skeptically. "We don't usually take passengers. What's your story, kid?" John quickly spun a tale of mistaken identity and a desperate need to leave before the authorities caught up with him. The captain's eyes softened a bit. "All right," he said, "but you'll have to work your passage. We're short-handed as it is." John nodded eagerly. "Deal. I'll do whatever you need." As the freighter prepared for departure, John slipped on board, helping with last-minute preparations. The engines roared to life, and the ship lifted off, leaving the chaos of the space mall behind. John exhaled deeply, relief washing over him. During the journey, John worked tirelessly, eager to prove his worth. The crew was a diverse bunch, each with their own story. He found himself fascinated by their experiences and started to feel a sense of camaraderie he hadn't felt in years. One evening, as they neared their destination, John struck up a conversation with a crew member named Rin. She was a tall, willowy alien with luminescent skin that glowed softly in the dim light of the cargo hold. "So, what's your story?" Rin asked, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. John hesitated, then smiled ruefully. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." "Try me," Rin said, leaning in closer. Taking a deep breath, John recounted his misadventures, from the announcement of the galactic marriage mandate to his desperate escape from the space mall. By the end, Rin was laughing, her musical voice echoing through the hold. "That's quite the tale," she said, shaking her head. "You've had a rough start, but maybe things will get better from here." John nodded, feeling a spark of hope. "Yeah, maybe. I just need to be a bit more careful about how I go about finding love and adventure." As the freighter docked at the space colony, John felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He had no idea what awaited him on this new world, but he was determined to make the most of it. He bid farewell to the crew, grateful for their help and companionship, and stepped onto the bustling colony platform. The colony was a vibrant, chaotic place, teeming with life from countless planets. John marveled at the diversity around him, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He was ready to start anew, to seek out genuine connections and perhaps, in time, find the adventure and love he had longed for. With a deep breath, John took his first steps into this new chapter of his life, the stars above a reminder of the endless possibilities that lay ahead.